Pocahontas Part 3. And Pocahontas has just been married, and everyone seems to be happy with this arrangement. And Sir Thomas Dale has decided that, oh, wouldn't it be great if he would marry a princess or another daughter of Powhatan. We're starting to read this on page 68. At the top of the page, we have just a little bit left to go. The first thing that Powhatan wanted, however, was news of Pocahontas. How were his daughter and his new son-in-law getting along, he asked. And of course, Ralph Hammer reported that Pocahontas was happy. So happy, he said, that she would never wish to return to her old home. Powhatan laughed as if Hammer had made a joke. When had Pocahontas ever been given a chance to go home? But when Ralph Hammer mentioned a second daughter for Sir Thomas Dale, Powhatan said, no, that daughter was already promised to a chief. Besides, one daughter was enough for the English. But to show that he was still Dale's friend, he sent him some animal skins. In return, he wanted a shaving knife, a grindstone, 2 bone combs, 100 fish hooks, a cat, and a dog. In London, people were delighted to hear of the conversion of Pocahontas, then of her marriage, then of the birth of her son Thomas a year later. But now that there was peace, they asked, why didn't more Indians become Christians? Now that there was peace, why weren't the settlers making money? They seemed to have failed at everything they tried. They couldn't grow pineapples or oranges or raise silkworms or make wine even though they had been sent grapes from France. They had trouble even feeding themselves. Eventually, John Rolfe's tobacco would turn out to be their big money maker, but they didn't know this yet. At the moment, Londoners were so sick of Virginia and its problems that they were giving their money and their attention to their new colony in Bermuda. Then Sir Thomas Dale had a grand idea for reviving interest in Virginia. In the spring of 1616, he was going to England, so why not take Pocahontas and John Rolfe and little Thomas to England with him? The Virginia backers would have a real live princess to show off. She'd go to parties with lords and ladies. She'd meet the king and queen. She'd go to church and pray English prayers along with English people. The English might look down on Indians as savages, but they were crazy about the idea of royal savages, and Bermuda didn't have a single royal savage to its name. In fact, it had no Indians at all. Of course, Pocahontas would have to travel in style like any princess. So in April 1616, when Dale's party set sail, Pocahontas was accompanied by 10 or 12 Indians in addition to her sister Matahana, who was to serve as nurse for little Thomas. Powhatan sent a special ambassador along, Tomokomo, a hard-headed man who would not likely be taken in by the splendors of England as Namontac had been. Powhatan wanted more than fancy stories about chariots and stone towers this time. How many people were there in England? He gave Tomokomo a stick so he could make notches and keep track of the number. Powhatan also wanted to know more about the king and queen, and about the English god. What did he look like? And Tomokomo was to ask about John Smith. Was he really dead or not? So here we have the end of Chapter 4.